So I think we're ready to rock because everybody, yeah. All right. So before we hop into things, I have a question for you guys. What are some concerns you might have about the market and or your business? Please put it in the chat. I see something right here or in the Q&A. The amount of negative media coverage that forces us to have to undo that. Yeah. So that's definitely something we're going to talk about tonight, is having the awareness and the knowledge to articulate to the client, to the community that you're currently in, what's really happening in the trenches when you're in the real estate game, right? Because the reality is, as an agent, you are in the trenches, and the nationwide or worldwide media, they can't really tell people what's happening in the trenches. So we're going to definitely hop into that. So yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. Let's see. I still got, okay, Don, the chat should, or the Q&A should be good now. So double check that. It should be enabled. All right, give me a second. I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna hop into this thing. Okay. All right, let me get this moved out the way real fast. Give me a second while I gotta arrange my screen. Okay, there we go. Now I'm gonna try my best to pull up, because I got two screens in front of me. I'm gonna do my best to pull up questions and stuff as we're going through everything. I have a lot of information I want to get through with you guys. So please bear with me. Let me see. Let me check one more thing, actually. Okay, now I'm trying to find the actual, get to the, here we go. Let me show the chat real quick. I just want to make sure everything is good. So I can see the chat now. And I got the Q&A back. All right, so we're ready to rock. We are ready to rock. Let's get it. Okay, so I asked you guys a question. What are some concerns that you might have about the market and your business? And the reason why I asked that question is because I believe that I needed to ask myself that question. I needed to ask myself the question. It's important because this is something, this type of conversation is something I believe we all need. We all need to be having more often as a real estate community, these type of conversations, the concerns and how to overcome them, right? 2023, in my opinion, I think is going to be a fantastic year for everyone who follows the principles I'm going to share with you guys, right? And the information I'm going to share, the principles I'm going to share, it's going to be a collective from my coaches, from I'm blessed to be in some of the rooms with the top operators in the industry. I am extremely blessed to be in the same rooms as they are and learn from them and be able to give, to that environment. But this is pretty much going to be a collection of all of that. And then obviously my own findings, like things that I'm experiencing and then, my team is. So this is going to be a collective over the past 12 months, and more importantly, over the past quarter, as to what 2023 is going to require to not just make it through, but to conquer, okay? So conquering 2023 and taking your real estate business to the next level. So another question I asked myself was, what would I do for the next 90 days in the business if I were to conquer 2023? What would I do? And again, this is another question I had to ask myself to get in the right mind frame that I needed for tonight. And it's very simple. Consistent effort over a period of time. Consistent effort over a period of time. Write that down. Like, what would I do for the next 90 days to conquer 2023? I would take and have consistent effort over a period of time. Okay. So I want to give some context. Our local market was down 15% in 2022 compared to 2021. My market, I am in the, I'm Lafayette, West Lafayette, Indiana. So our market, we're about 45 minutes north of Indianapolis, Indiana. So our market, I mean, we got a pretty good sized market. We got 150,000 people population. It's a college town, right? So, you know, it's a pretty good market, not super small, not super big. The market in 2022 was down 15%. So the amount of homes sold in 2022 was down compared to 2021 by 15%, all right? Now, our team increased overall production in 2022 by 25%, okay? So while the market normalized and there were agents out there that felt it and struggled, we grew and we gained market share. So I say that to say this. My commitment to you tonight is to provide value and give you actionable steps that you can implement and immediately grow your business. I'm not going to share no theory, okay? No theory, period. This will be things you can implement literally today, and within 90 days, you'll see substantial growth, okay? I will be honest as well, because I'm definitely not gonna sugarcoat anything or give you fluff. The shit only works if you take the action, okay? Period. All right. So what would I do for the next 90 days in the business to conquer 2023? I would adopt the mindset and do everything I can, taking action in the right activities, and be patient, understanding that it can take 90 days to actually get the result that I'm working so hard for, okay? In the absence of action in a plan, fear exists and takes over. In the absence of action in a plan, fear exists and takes over. Here's the reality. Most agents, their business is built by design, or is built by default and not by design. Right? They work one day to put the work in. The activities that they're partaking in isn't really moving the needle forward. And then they decide to take the next 2 days off, right? And then they realize after about a week or two, they don't have any more pendings. And it becomes a roller coaster of a situation, right? Now, the reality is that is most agents, okay? That's just the reality. They're building it by default and not by design. Now, when you're doing that, that creates uncertainty and it causes problems that actually could have been prevented, okay? What are those problems? Well, NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, is predicting 30% of real estate agents to exit the business in the next 6 to 12 months. And the reality is it's already happening. So, you know, we're in the new year and there's a lot of agents that didn't pay their yearly dues over the past like 30 days. They didn't pay them, right? So we're going to find out pretty soon what that new agent population is now, okay? Because the 2023 dues were due last week. And a lot of agents, probably 30, maybe it could be a big percentage of this 30% did not pay those dues. They went and found another job, okay? Now, check this out, because I like stats, I like data, right? I do believe if you have data, if you have stats, you're able to become an authority because you're including data in your conversation, right? It's something we talk about all the time in our office. In 2022, approximately 600,000 agents did not sell a single home. 600,000 agents that did not sell a single home last year. Okay. Now, again, this is important that we have these conversations, because whether you're in our market or you're in markets all across the country, I don't want you to become a statistic. Okay. That's what this is about, is how can we all win together? All right. Now, in order to win at a high level, not just get by, we got to have a vision. We got to have a vision. Like, you got to take time and think, at the end of 2023, I want this to happen in my life. I want this to happen in my life, XYZ to happen in my life. I think what we do is we forget to plan our life. Like, the best way to build a business by design is to plan your life and build the business around it. Okay, we have members of our tribe that got very clear on what their vision was in 2022, right? They got very clear on it. And they've achieved several of what they had on their vision board, or what their yearly vision was. I mean, there's some people that created their 2023 vision, and they've already accomplished some of that stuff, and we just now entered 2023. Coach Bill Pipes, he's one of our coaches and mentors, a great guy, a genius when it comes to real estate sales. He said, the purpose of business is to fund a great life. Write that down. The purpose of business is to fund a great life. Why else are we doing this? Like, why are we working so hard to not really like live the life of our dreams? The purpose of business is to fund a great life. Okay. So what is your 1-year vision? What is your 1-year vision? I want to share some with you guys real quick. Let me back out of this. So check this out. What is your 1-year vision? We got business right here. This is a 2023 business plan. And by the way, if you want a copy of this, just let me know. This will be available to people who were on the webinar who's interested, okay? Again, we're committed to contribution and making sure that the people that are in our world, they're winning at a high level. So your 1-year vision. What is your business 1-year vision? What do you want to accomplish in your business? And you could break it down to, maybe you want to have a certain amount of closings. Maybe you want to help a certain amount of families, maybe whatever it may be. But get clear on that. Financial. How much money do you want to make? How many people do you want to be able to support with the money you make, right? What investments do you want to make? Get clear on it. You know what an issue is when we get to this point? A lot of people do have a New Year's resolution or a plan or something like that. But I do realize when I'm having conversations with people, they tend to be very vague. So I want to challenge you. When you're doing this, get specific on what it is you want. Do not be vague, okay? Don't be vague. Listen, the unconscious mind cannot connect to a vague number or to something vague. You have to be specific when you're getting clear on what it is you want, okay? Relationships. How do you want your marriage, your relationship with your boyfriend, girlfriend, with your children, with your mother, father, with your siblings, with your friends? What is that vision for you? Get clear on it, okay? Get clear on it. Because again, why are we doing all this for if we're just going to mess up relationships? You got to be clear on your relationship vision too. Spiritual, okay? Physical. One of the things we can do when we start getting busy and we're really working hard, because I know we work hard, is we forget about the spiritual, the physical, and the emotional. Okay. So we're going to get clear on this. This is your 1-year vision. All right. 1-year vision. So I just want to share that with you. There are other things in this that I'll reference back to the stuff, but this is a 2023 business plan. If you want a copy of it, let's reach out to us. This will be available to everybody. Because again, we want to contribute. So let me go back to this slideshow real quick. So again, that's your 1-year vision. All right. Get clear. I'm going to move on. Attitude. Attitude. Number 2 is attitude. Like once you get clear on your vision, you got to get into the right mental space and attitude. Real estate is a mental game. It is a mental game. Okay. Now I want to dive deep into this because here's the reality. If you don't get this down, your year is not going to be the way you want it to be. Okay. I want to say that I have a passion for developing talent and contribution. Like that is my talent. That is like my passion, is helping people become more in the real estate space. And because I really do genuinely believe in order to become more in the real estate space as an agent or a professional business person, you got to grow as a human being, because your business is a direct reflection of your inner world, right? And that's what makes it so fulfilling for me, is as people grow as a human being, I tend to see their business grow too. And because of that, I'm always thinking like, how can I help people become more so they can do more and have more in their business? Now, the cool thing about like when I'm coaching people or when I'm training people or helping support people, it's always based on like being in the trenches. It's not based on theory. I don't provide theory. Listen, my own personal production, I increased my personal production by 25, 30% year over year before stepping out of production, right? And I'm also very blessed to say that every agent who has allowed me to be a part of their growth, every agent who has allowed me to be a part of their journey, I've been able to see their growth as well and get the same type of growth that I've gotten in my career, right? When I was in production. By the way, I do want to say this, even today, every agent that I work with, they joined me when they were newly licensed, meaning they had no real estate experience before joining, before partnering with me, right? Which is crazy, but I love it. There was an agent that I was able to, help grow. I went from 0 to the number 12 agent in our board, and that was within 3 years. There was another agent that I helped go from 0 to the top 13 agent in the board. By the way, our board has over, at this point, 500 agents now, okay? And this happened within 3 years with both. There was another agent that went from 0 to top 100 in our board of over 500 agents. And I'm not saying that to impress you, but to impress upon you that I'm not going to be the person to create fancy, shiny objects or trainings or hop on a Zoom call with you guys and share with you stuff just to kind of fill out 45 minutes of your time, right? Like, I'm not going to waste any of your time. I'm going to share with you what actually works. So real estate is a mental game. You just need to learn how to win at it. You just need to learn how to win at it. What I have discovered is the simple things done consistently, the simple things that are done consistently delivers the extraordinary results. The simple things, the mundane activities, not the sexy stuff, the mundane activities is what gets you to the extraordinary results. The boring work gives you an exciting life. Write that down. The boring work gives you an exciting life. Now, we're going to get into tactical, I promise you, we're going to get into the tactical stuff. But if you don't get this message, your 2023 will be very underwhelming. Okay. I mean, I just so much believe that the mental game is important. The attitude is important. I mean, think of it this way. If I have a fish tank and it's filled with murky water, and I put a beautiful, healthy fish in a tank, that fish will become lethargic and will eventually die. Now, conversely, if I have that fish in a tank of clear, healthy water, that same fish will thrive. So in other words, real estate is a mental game. You first have to get the mental foundation down before you can execute on what I'm going to share with you. Write this down as well before we move on. Untamed emotion is the enemy of performance. Untamed emotion is the enemy of performance. Literally, the enemy of you performing at a high level is what is happening in your mind. That's negative, limited, scarcity. That's why attitude and mindset is so important in the game of real estate and business in general. 80% of the game that you play, if you're in real estate, you're in title, you're a lender, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you own a shoe store, it doesn't matter. 80% of your growth and success is going to be predicated on the mental. 80%. 20% is a strategy. Okay. All right. I think I beat that down. We're going to move on. Let's talk about approach. Okay. Approach is having a plan. What is your plan? Now, you got to set a clear plan. Remember when I was talking about the 1-year vision, right? Your plan must be clear, specific, actionable, measurable, and realistic, especially with the market becoming more normal, right? The market shift, what the market, and by the way, the market has already shifted. And what it's doing is it's becoming a normal market, more of a normal market. It's still a seller's market, sure, but it's normalizing, okay? So you got to make sure your plan, your approach, you're clear on it, okay? Now, one of my coaches, Matt Smith, he asked me this question, and Matt Smith is a genius. Like, he's a great guy, learned a lot from him, love being in that circle of high-level people. And he asked me this question, and I'm gonna ask it to you. He asked, what is the #1 trait of an agent that will conquer 2023? What is the #1 trait that an agent has to have in order to conquer this year? If you know the answer, put it in the chat or the Q&A, or the chat, one of the two. What is the #1 trait of an agent that will conquer 2023? The #1 trait. What is the #1 trait that an agent that will conquer 2023? Let me wait a few more seconds. One trait. Mindset. Okay. Let's see if we can let's get another one. Mindset is important. It's important. See if we can get one more person. The #1 trait that an agent has to have in order to conquer 2023. Consistency, sticking to the process. That's good as well. It's good as well. So both people did not mention the market. It's #1. Nobody said the market, all right, which is beautiful. Like we're not going to be a victim of the market. We're going to be a victor in the market, right? So I'm happy nobody said the market. In my opinion, in my coach's opinion, the number one trait of an agent that an agent has to have in order to conquer 2023, it's a 4-letter word: grit. They have to have grit, period. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. What type of market have we been in the past couple of years? Those good times, right? Those good times that have created some weak agents out here, right? Now, what market are we leaning into that actually we're not even leaning into it, now we're in it? It's going to be the strong men that's going to create the good times. Men and women, okay? I mean, that's just a quote, okay? But strong men create good times create weak men. Having grit is going to help determine your mindset and approach. Let me ask you this. We're going to see how much grit you have. What do you say when a buyer says, you know what? I don't want to move right now. I'm going to wait and see what happens with the market. How do you handle that, right? Like if you're talking to somebody on the phone and it's a potential client and they're like, you know what? I don't want to buy right now, or I don't want to sell. I'm going to wait for the market to change. I'm going to wait for the crash. How do you handle that conversation? And let me correct my wording. How do you educate that client? Not handle anything. How do you educate the client to give them the clarity that they need to make the right decision for them and their family? A lot of us hear that and either you get upset, you get annoyed, you get frightened because you don't know how to have that conversation, right? But we always forget what led up to that moment: the lack of grit, because the grit is going to require you. If you had the grit, you're going to wake up, you're going to work on how to handle that. You're going to work on mastering the real estate conversation. How about the people who you're meeting with, right? And because listen, this is the type of market we're in. We're in a market where sellers are thinking they can get last year's prices and buyers are thinking they can get next year's prices, assuming things slow down a little more, normalize a little more. So we're kind of like in this like messy middle, right? Have you adjusted your presentation, your listing presentation, your buyer presentation, to be able to educate the client effectively and move them to the finish line, right? I know so many people, buyers and sellers, who have literally kind of screwed themselves by, not because of they necessarily made the wrong decision, due to the lack of their agent having the lack of knowledge needed to educate them to make the right decision. Like, I don't even want to blame the client. Like, I'm putting all the ownership on the agent. Have you adjusted your presentation? Do you have a presentation, right? Do you have a script? If somebody comes up to you and they're like, yeah, you know, the rates, I'm just going to wait because the rates are high. Do you have a way to, again, educate them? You know, I can appreciate the fact that you're concerned about the rate. As a matter of fact, you know, there's been a lot of conversations I've been having with people who are thinking the same way as you. And after speaking with them and having time to really educate them on the market, here's what we found together. And then you go into a way to educate them on the market to give them the certainty they need to move forward. Something we got to start doing, people. Okay. So again, you got to have the grit. You got to be ready to adjust. Your approach has to be right. And you may have to make some changes as the market continues to normalize. Okay. If you don't have a listing presentation, a buyer presentation, you better get one. If you don't know how to handle those conversations, if you don't know how to talk to them about a 2-1 buy down when rates are the way they are, right? And I'm not saying you got to have the knowledge like a lender, like your favorite lender, but you got to at least you got to have enough knowledge to educate them, to give them the clarity and enough certainty to then learn more about it with you in person with the lender. Hope that makes sense. Now, I want to hop into something. Let's talk about leading measures, okay? A leading measure is going to be, and you may have heard like KPI before, a key performance indicator, right? A leading measure is going to be something that you do today that moves, that like it's a result you can get today that will move your business forward, right? So here's some leading measures that my team and we keep track of. And I highly recommend, if you want to succeed in 2023 at a high level, as a matter of fact, if you want to gain market share like how we did in 2023, I recommend you track these. You keep track of them, you do the activities, and then you track them. Number one, conversations. How many conversations are you having per day? Okay. Number two, how many appointments are you setting per day, per week, per month, per quarter, per year? How many appointments are you actually going on, right? Or how many appointments or buyers or sellers are you actually meeting with, right? How many of those people that you're meeting with are actually, hiring you to help them in a real estate journey? And then you need to track how many of those clients are you getting under contract? And then obviously everybody's favorite, how many closings? You got to track your closings too, okay? And it's also important to track your ratios. Like, how many conversations do you have to get a closing? Or how many conversations do you have to get an appointment set, right? Or how many clients under contract do you have to get a closing? Like, I am so thankful to say we were in the 90% in regards to clients under contract to closed, which is in a market that we are in is, I couldn't be more proud than what I am of my team. That's elite, right? Now, I'm not saying we're perfect. Like, we got things that we can continue to optimize or refine and get better and better and better, because we are committed to mastery, right? We are committed to growing. It's actually one of our core values is having a growth mindset, right? Improving and getting better. I'm telling you right now, these leading measures, conversations, appointments set, met, signed, under contract, and closed, and knowing your ratios, you must know that, okay? If you're not tracking these numbers, how are you going to improve throughout the years, right? What gets measured improves, all right? So that is the approach. What is the plan? Are you clear on it? Are you clear on it? And again, it has to be clear, specific, actionable, measurable, and realistic to cater towards the market normalization that we're in. Moving on, expectations. So you got to set proper expectations for yourself. As the market normalizes, your expectations need to adjust with the market. This is probably not something you want to hear, but again, I'm sure you would rather be in a room with people who's going to be 100% honest with you and tell you the truth versus being around people who just tell you what you want to hear, right? Like, which is better for you? I always choose the person who's going to keep it real. So I'm going to keep it real with you, all right? So if you enjoy that, you're in the right room. You're on the right call. It is going to take twice as much action to get a similar result. It is going to take twice as much action to get a similar result. Period. So Coach Pipes, he's one of the coaches. He coaches like some of the top real estate teams in the nation, right? He was saying that some of the big teams, right, it's taking them 60 conversations to get one appointment set. Like, that's what he's seeing on average, right? I'm extremely thankful, and due to many reasons, we're able to talk to 30 people to get one set. So we're cutting that in half. And we're working on ways to actually get that lower to 10. So we're always constantly improving. And that can be due to the training, the coaching, the skills of the agent, the activities that they're doing, so on and so forth, right? But it's going to take twice as much action to get a similar result. Now, I got some good news for you, okay? Last recession, the last recession that we were in, 17%, there was a 17% increase in the number of millionaires. There was a 17% increase in the number of millionaires in the last recession. And 19% of those people, they increased their net worth, okay? Now, that's the good news, because whenever there's any type of shift in an industry, zeros become heroes. And it can happen the other way too. I've seen heroes become zeros. But in order for you to become a hero and to gain market share and to potentially be in that percentage of millionaires, you got to be confident in your abilities. Are you confident in your abilities? Are your clients confident in your abilities? Do they see you as an authority? It's important. I want you to write this down. Confidence and commissions go hand in hand. A seller and a buyer, you know who they're hiring or what they're hiring? They're hiring confidence. If you're not a confident agent, you're not going to get hired. Or if you do get hired, you're going to potentially get fired too, shortly after, all right? Confidence and commissions go hand in hand. The agents need to be confident out here. How do you become confident? We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Because it's going to require you to take action and be committed, okay? But they are hiring confident agents. That's what they deserve. Your clients deserve a confident agent, okay? Period. So let's talk about what you need to do to become confident. Let's talk about commitments, right? When you're out here in the market and you're putting the work in, you got to control the controllables. You have to control the controllables. You can't blame the market. Don't be focused on that. Don't be focused on nothing else outside of your control. Control the controllables. And you have to be committed to mastery. Mastery equals, this is an easy equation to determine mastery. You learn it, you do it, you teach it. Mastery is you learn it, you do it, you teach it. Okay, so you got to control the controllables. You got to be committed to mastery, and you got to be committed to education. You must focus on educating yourself every single day, especially as an agent in these changing times. Like, what are we doing if we're not keeping up to date on the rates and what's happening with these new loan programs and things that a lot of the people out here, the consumers, the clients, right? The people that are concerned, they don't know about. And they're uncertain. They're looking for a lighthouse. They're looking for somebody who can bring awareness and positivity into their situation, right? To give them the education they need. So if you're not every single day educating yourself on what's happening in these changing times, what are we doing? Like, we owe it to our clients and our communities to be the expert. That should be a non-negotiable. That's just like a doctor saying, hey man, listen, I done went to school for a few years and I got my degree, but shoot, I ain't gonna be keeping up with the change. So if I end up doing a heart surgery, and the last heart surgery I did, all the technology and everything that I'm used to was from 1989. And I haven't updated or upgraded my training since. Like, are you gonna hire that surgeon? No, we gotta keep up to date. We gotta be the expert, okay? Here's another one. This is probably one that a lot of people haven't even thought of recently, unless you're on our team. Role play. If you don't have a consistent focus on practicing your skills and role playing daily, then ultimately you are practicing on the clients. If you're not improving your skill set, and what is our skill set? Our skill set is our mind and our mouth. Like, that is our jump shot, or that is our 40-inch vertical, or our rocket arm, or our super fast legs, right? Like, how we communicate and mastering the art of the real estate conversation, that is our skill set. If you're not role playing and practicing that daily, then you are practicing on the client and they deserve better. Okay. So I want to empower you. I want to empower you that if you don't reach your goals, it's not because of the market. It's not because of anything. It's because of you and the decisions you made. Okay. It's not the clients. It's not the competition. It's you. I want to share a story real quick. Share a story of my son, my oldest son, and about how I had a conversation. This is during a game. This is during a game this year, or it was last year actually, about controlling what he can control. And in this game, by the way, he scored 36 points. He's 11 years old, right? So he's playing and he's playing up. So he's playing older kids. And this kid that he's guarding is very good. I mean, he's doing these moves and he's getting into the paint. And the kid scored probably like 12 points in the first half. And Asa was mad. He was upset because Asa was guarding him. And Asa is a very high level. I mean, he loves to compete, right? So if somebody scores on him, he's mad. And during halftime, he came over to me and I was like, son, most of our losses are a result of something that we do or don't do. Either case we control, okay? In life, it's very seldom that someone just beats us. What I have found is that we typically beat ourselves. Son, when you're guarding him, which way does he keep going? Is he going left or right consistently? Oh, daddy's going right. Oh, he keeps going right. Yep. So if he keeps going right, what adjustment can we make that we control that can make it harder for him? Not saying completely stop him, but can at least make it more challenging. Force him to the left. Force him to the left. Okay. Second half starts. What does he do? He forces them to the left. For the rest of the game, the other kid scored maybe 2 points. I really don't think he scored more than 2 points in that second half. And the Asa ended up scoring 36 points and they won. If he doesn't make the adjustments in the heat of the moment, that probably would have caused them to get beat and probably some embarrassment for my son. What he did after our conversation was he stepped up and he focused on controlling what he could control. And that resulted in a victory, okay? So my question for you is, can you control the market? Yes or no? No, you can't. Can you control changing your dialogue and increasing your skill set? Yes. Can you control how many meaningful conversations that you're having with clients every single day and every week? Yes, you can. I want you to take a moment, I'll take a real quick moment, and I'm gonna give you about 20 seconds. Write down 3 commitments that you can make that would change your business forever. What are 3 commitments that would change your business forever, that you can make, that you control? What are 3 commitments? Get some water real quick. Here's one of my commitments: getting a gallon of water in per day. What are 3 commitments you can make that will change your business forever? Okay. So hope you wrote that down. These are 3 things that you can control, okay? Now, here's the thing, because it doesn't get done unless you execute. So we're going to talk about execution. And we're going to talk about prospecting because it's so important. And prospecting is different from lead generation, okay? Like lead generation could be in the form of paying. It could be like paying for a billboard or branding, paying for some branding stuff, right? That's a form of lead generation. Prospecting is going to require you to take more of an active approach to gain new clients, right? Prospecting is so important. What I was raised on in the business is a day not prospected is a day not worked. So if I don't care, I could have closed 30 deals in a day, okay? Help 30 families in one day. But if I didn't prospect that day, I didn't work. I didn't work. I took the day off. When you don't prospect, you put a closed sign on your business. is so important, so important. You know what is also important? Because a lot of us prospect, but then we forget to do this one thing. We put in all that work, but then we don't follow up. We don't have a follow-up cadence. We don't have a follow-up process, right? One thing I would highly recommend every single agent today do, call every single hot, warm, and cold buyer and seller in your database, and then re-engage with them, okay? Re-engage, educate them, give them something valuable, offer them something valuable, be a resource, okay? You owe it to yourself and your business in 2023 to call every person in your database and re-engage them and remind them that you are still in the business. I'm telling you right now, there are some people that are in your database today, in your CRM, that was working with another agent, and that agent is no longer in the business. Now you can adopt a client. Reach out to everyone, okay? Be the lighthouse. And by the way, this is where your appointments can come from in this market. You don't have to always rely on new leads, okay? You don't always have to rely on new leads. If you just follow up with people and nurture that relationship and continue to build, I mean, you'll be in a great position, okay? Now, oh man, let me give you the secret, okay? The secret to success in this market is very simple. It's taking inspired action consistently. And I'm going to break this down for you. This is the action, because I mean, notice I didn't say action, just action. I said inspired action. So I want to break this down for you. Here's the discernment. Action is, I'm going to call in my database. Okay, that's the action. I'm going to call in my database. Tomorrow, you know what? I'm going to call in my database. Antoine told me to do it, but I really don't want to, but I'm going to do it. Now, that mentality and just taking the action, there's really no fire behind it. There's really no inspiration behind it. That is most likely going to lead to being inconsistent in those actions, right? This is something that you were going to do every single day for 2023 or every work day for 2023. Just take the action. You're probably going to be inconsistent. Now, inspired action is different, right? When we talk around me, we're doing it with a fire behind it, right? There's something bigger than us that's behind it. Inspired action is, I need to call everyone in my database and inform them what is happening in the market. It is my duty. It is my duty to serve people. How many of us are waking up every day inspired, fired up to serve and give and to educate and be the lighthouse, right? Or is it, man, dang, here we go again, another day. Well, let me make these calls and get it over with. Oh, I'm calling. I hope they don't pick up. Do you understand that every single time you have that mindset, you just take action? That you are literally not only limiting your business, you're putting a roof, a ceiling on your business, but you're allowing a chance for an agent who isn't as good as you, who isn't as skilled as you, to help that client and not provide a good service, get possibly that client and the transaction that they're a part of together goes bad and could potentially hurt them financially, right? That's how important it is for you to take inspired action, to not be selfish, but be selfless, okay? So inspired action, not just action, inspired action. Because if you don't do it, you could be causing the people that you care about financial harm, all right? Another thing too, before we move on, is if you're only taking action to chase a commission, again, you will be inconsistent. We have to start putting people over the money, okay? I'm telling you right now, in 2023, the agents that make it about themselves will lose, period. Don't make it about you, okay? You are here with a purpose to serve, inspire, and to give, to contribute. which is where this is all about today. We are on a mission to contribute. You need to be that way as an agent to your clients, to the people in your database. Okay. That is execution. It makes it much easier for you to be consistent if you live and breathe that, if you really believe it, right? All right, moving on. The last thing is celebrate your wins. Like schedule a badass vacation, participate in active renewal, get inspired, right? Like when you have this light at the end of the tunnel, like in 2023 and your 1-year vision, maybe you put in there that you want to take 4 vacations or 2 vacations or 1 vacation. The faster you can get it scheduled and get it on the calendar, the better. Now, every single day, you're working towards something, okay? Here's the key. You can't just do that. You got to also participate in active renewal. What is active renewal? What is something that fills your cup every single day or every single week? Something that you can do, whether it's an activity, whether it's just being in an environment. Like, what is that for you that will renew, replenish your energy and your mind? Okay. Like for some people, it could be going to the movies. For some people, it could be going on a drive in their favorite car. I don't know. Could be listening to music. I don't know what it is, right? But determine what that is for you. And you need to participate in active renewal, if not every day, at least once a week. Okay? At least once a week. You got to always have something to work towards. And just remember, like, if you don't celebrate at this point, and celebrate your wins, even the small ones, right? Because that's a building block to the next win. We're not working hard as hell just to work hard as hell. Again, Coach Pipe says the purpose of a business is to be able to fund a dream life, right? So don't forget that. Don't forget that. So make sure you celebrate your wins. All the hard work you're putting in, you conquering 2023, every day, every week, every month at a time, make sure you're celebrating, okay? And take it one day at a time. I think a lot of us, we get overwhelmed because we're thinking 2 months ahead or 3 months ahead. Win the day today. Like win today. Win today. How do you win today? Write down 3 things that no matter what you're committed to accomplishing. Write it down. And if you accomplish those 3 things, you won the day. So then the question becomes, how many days can I win this year? And if you're winning every single day, that's an equivalent to getting 1% better every single day. That's progress, baby. Progress is growth. Progress is success. One day at a time, okay? One day at a time. All right, what time is it? Yeah, it's about an hour. Cool. Well, we're gonna wrap it up there. So again, we gotta make sure that before we get going, before we even step foot into the plan, we got to get clear on our 1-year vision. Get clear on your vision. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, you got to get the right attitude, the right mindset. You got to get that down. You got to get that down. Okay. Then you got to make sure that you're taking the right approach. You got to have a clear plan. You got to have a clear plan. And that was when I also talked about grit. You got to have grit. All right. This market requires grit. We are in a action-based market that requires skills. Okay. And grit. So keep that in mind. Then you got to also make sure that your expectations are correct. Set the proper expectations for yourself. Okay. Then you got to commit. You got to commit. Control what you can control. You got to commit to mastery. You got to commit to being educated and continue to educate yourself and educating others. You got to commit to role playing and mastering the real estate conversation and being comfortable and confident as a professional. Okay. Then you got to execute. And this is the execution part is the X factor. This is where most people fail. You have to execute on the plan. If the plan tells you to work 20 days this month, work 20 days. The plan tells you to talk to 10 people a day, you better talk to 10 people a day. Back to what I was talking about, win each day. You got to execute, otherwise it's all for naught. Okay. And then celebrate your wins. You got to celebrate. Because again, what are we, what's the point then? Like, if we're not celebrating, if we're not enjoying what we're doing, if we're not enjoying and feeling the fulfillment because we're making progress, what's the point, right? All right, thanks for attending. Thanks for joining, hanging out with me tonight. I know, yeah, we're all busy, and the fact that you took time to hang out tonight and to learn, and I really am grateful for that. Another thing too is I know we're in a new year. This isn't like something brand new as far as my mind goes, and as far as like the environment and the tribe that I'm in. This has been one of our core principles, and that's contribution. This isn't like a 2023 thing, like, oh, well, 2023, now my mission is to contribute. No, this has been what it has been. I think now we just made the commitment to do it at a higher level, right? And yeah, we're 100% committed to helping all of our real estate brothers and sisters win big in 2023 and beyond. I mean, again, the reality is, like, there's a lot of people who did not do well last year. There's some people, like I mentioned, that didn't sell a single home. Again, 600,000 agents, 600,000 agents didn't sell a single home, right? They weren't able to support their family, okay? And there's going to be a big chunk of people that agents that won't be here next year. I'm not saying like they'll be dead. I'm just saying like their career could be in jeopardy, and I don't want that to happen. Like, I am extremely blessed to to be in my position, and I just don't take it for granted. And again, one of our core principles is contribution. So what we're doing is, if you know me, you probably noticed at the bottom right, the high value agent. This is something that we decided to do because, again, we want to contribute and give back more. People that I work with closely every day, and the rooms I get to be in, like, I mean, there's a lot out there that a lot of people just don't really have access to, that maybe if they did, they could do more. Maybe things would click in their mind for them to kind of take that step, give them the assurance that they need to win at a high level. I do know there are even some people that are afraid of success, right? And because of that, like, we are asking for people, if you want continuous information, and as we're implementing things in our business here at Silverline Real Estate Group, I will be wanting to share that with our Facebook community. The high value agent is something we started and we're excited about. We have a YouTube channel. We have a Facebook group that we want you guys to be a part of, where we're going to consistently be putting in free information, free content to help people grow. We're not selling anything. We're just committed. We're just committed to contribution, period. And again, I'm so thankful and blessed to be a part of the team that I'm on. And I think it's time now to just really kind of step out and give more to people. So again, here's a QR code. If you have you can scan that. It'll take you to our Facebook community, the High Value Agent. Again, we have a YouTube channel. You could just search us on YouTube and it'll be there. I'm putting out like a couple videos a week, good stuff like that. I know some people also wanted a copy of the business plan, so we will send that out as well, some information about that. And some of that information will also be in the group as well. So look forward to meeting new people, people that are in our market, talking with you guys inside the community. And if there's anything else that we can do, anybody, whether it's myself or anybody on the team, anybody that I'm close with, if you have questions, please reach out. Again, we're here to support. We have our own commitments and stuff for 2023, but one thing that we all agree on within our tribe is that we want to keep what we have. And if we want to continue to grow, we got to give it all away. We got to give, whether it's our time or energy, to others, right? And be able to support them at a high level. So that's all I got for you guys today. Again, join our Facebook community, the High Value Agent, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll be putting in valuable content every single day. All right, you guys take care. See you guys.